this goes out on the solstice, and that for some people it'll be a really bleak time for them, and for some people they'll be like really over adrenalised around Christmas, and I think the whole Christmas panic is about feeling good enough.
Yeah.
So
and having to face lots of stuff that you try and ignore the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Around family and money and shoulds and culture and.
Yeah. So I'm just praying that this podcast goes out as a soothing balm to those places, for those people, for all of us, that it can be a place of refuge for our hearts. Oh, just put it there for show.
I did a gig at a dance festival in Greece once, really random, like sort of ambient band I was playing with, and there was just one cable plug, and he spent half an hour, and he was like, we were playing just after Simon Posford, Spongle, really famous, like massive packed out dance floor, and we were like, wow, we've got a big crowd, okay. And then it's just everyone had gone. It's exactly where the tech for so long.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome to Mooneys Mythic Podcast. I'm here. It's alright everyone, I'm right here. This podcast is sponsored by Winter, by the retreating of our energy deep, deep into our bodies, deep into the safety of our bodies, the remembering of our self-care, of our quietness. This podcast is sponsored by Winter. Hey, hi. I'm really happy to be here. I am your host, Sarah Mooney, and I've got someone on the sofa. I'm on the big sofa, and I've got Ted Waters on the sofa with me, so we're going to have a chit chat with her later on. But even better than that, she's going to sing for us. She's going to sing for you. She's going to sing for us. She's going to sing. I wanted to tell you that I had such a gorgeous story wintering time on Sunday, so thanks to everyone who came to that course. It was really, really special, and it reminded me even more that stories are just so important for us to nourish ourselves with and connect with other people. And I was listening to Madonna saying we lost dancing, and somewhere we've lost dancing, we've lost singing, we've lost storytelling as a normal practice, just as a normal way of expressing and connecting. So my dreaming for us all this winter is that we find somewhere to sing, and we find somewhere to dance, and we find somewhere to listen to the storytellers, to listen to the musicians, to listen to something live. Yeah, really praying that happens for all of us this winter. And I am contradicting disconnection by having you here, Ted Waters. Hello, you right?
Yeah, I'm very good. Hello, pod people.
And that's Amber's just going down the stairs with a noisy bag. But She'll be back later.
Great. The world goes on. I'm very happy to be here. Yes.
So I'm just going to say a bit about you, Ted, because I know it's really hard for us to talk about each other, but you're a farmer.
Yeah.
Wow, tell me about that.
We've got a little organic farm just north of Chew Valley Lake, which is about 9 acres, and it's about 2 acres of no-dig veg. And we've got chickens and ducks, not commercial at the minute, but they were. And we've got a beautiful roundhouse in our woods that we hire out to kids groups and retreats, and we're planting a lot of trees, and the deer are then eating a lot of trees, and that's
Deer eat trees.
Deer eat whatever they could. Deer eat whatever you try and put in the ground. Yeah, they often
Really?
don't eat the ones that are regenerating themselves. We've realised. Yeah. Really
Okay.
interesting.
They just like nosh off the bark and.
They just they just get the little shoots and go nom nom nom.
Okay.
So yeah, big
Wow.
project at the minute is we're guarding up lots of trees to protect them
Over the
deer.
winter.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's our lovely little patch of magic there, which is very.
So if you, what part of yourself are you going to protect for the winter?
Oh, all of it.
That's great. Like bubble wrap.
Yeah, absolutely.
He said in the street. Yeah.
Bubble wrap, kind of lovely parcel tape around the edges that people would find really hard to crack into. They'd need loads of scissors. I love winter. I really deeply love winter, and I always don't rest enough compared to the amount I know I need to rest. And I feel like, especially the last couple of weeks, I felt really like, oh my God, I just want to put everything down and just find a pile of leaves with a hearty in it and a water bottle.
I wasn't sure.
And just snuggle down and just keep things really simple. And I think the contrast we have in our culture predominantly is that it's not simple this time of year. It's got lots of pressure and deadlines, and really it's not natural for us to be rushing about and because things are harder anyway, and as daylight is diminished, and you can only get so much done in a day outdoors, and you feel sleepy early in the evenings, and we should be sleeping long hours, and not completely hibernating, but we should be really moving much slower. So each winter I try and winter harder and better.
It's a thing, isn't it? Because it's like, yes, I really hear all that, and I spent all day, and everyone got a big buzz on their phone, except me, because I don't have a smartphone. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, so we didn't get buzzes, but everyone got a big buzz to sort of stay indoors and watch out for the wind. And I ran with that, and I just stayed in bed all day. Great. And it felt like my circadian rhythm was sort of swapping over to winter. And I want to stay connected, and that's, I think that's, I want to see my solids and my family, but in a really unpressured way. I was reading about solstice ceremonies, because you're a seasonal celebrant.
Yes,
is that right?
I am.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I think maybe, I don't know if I'm coining the term, because I was doing more sort of weddings and naming ceremonies and things, and then I realised that actually I just really love marking the seasonal tides around the Celtic wheel and holding women's circles, and just where I can be fully me. And I think when you're holding someone else's wedding or something where they want a certain thing, you can't always bring in a full. I felt I couldn't bring in a full me, whereas when I'm in a space.
So what would that look like if you're creating a space for the winter season? What would that look like?
So I would I'd bring in elements that are around us. I would bring in songs and poems of this time.
When you say elements around us, you mean in
bits of stuff, twigs, berries, maybe things growing on the farm, maybe something I found.
Right.
Just for a sort of altar space.
Yeah.
And just to remind me, often that they're very bare-boned, you know, this time of year, things are very bare-boned. Maybe it's a bone, maybe it's a branch. The thing I really love about walking around in the wilds is that even though everything looks like it's sort of died, in inverted commas, if you go up closely to all the trees, they've all got little buds. They're all waiting. They're just poised. Yeah. They're ready to go. They never stop. They just rest. And so something like that, as a reminder of that spring will always come, even though our seasons are a bit wonky. Spring does come eventually. And maybe some greenery to remind us that some things push through the winter and hold their leaves and keep the vibrancy, like ivy and things like that. And
I think I've always been a tree that loses its leaves over winter, but I think I might be an evergreen this year. I'm feeling pretty juicy. But I was looking at my Christmas tree and thinking that other years it would have been totally appropriate to leave it until every needle had dropped to the ground, and it just stood there kind of bare and naked and wonky until I put it on the fire. I think it would have been more a sort of representation of my journey. Yeah. But this year feels a bit different. And I think that might be because I'm resting deep earlier. You know, I remember feeling like so much energy. I had so much energy last year till deep into January, and then I was just like a kind of automata. I just stopped.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. I think you can, as long as we can have space when we need the space. That's what we find hard to find, I think, is being able to follow our own rhythm, in with a cyclical rhythm, and recognise it. And I'm hoping that might come out this year, the other side of, mid-January, with a bit of juice in me. And I'm not completely wanting to hide in a bubble-wrapped cellophane ball, but especially not cellophane, it'd be really loud. But it's that sort of, like you say, being able to go out and find those juicy people, find those hearty people, get out into nature and come back in, being able to come back into oneself and into your internal process, or just into your own rest, and not have to be doing. Because that's what it feels like. That's what the summertime is for, all that sunlight and energy.
So that's what the sun is doing now in the solstice. So the solstice means sun, obviously soul, ice, which means frozen, stillness. So in the solstice, the sun keeps still for about 3 days, I think, and it's only twice in the year that it keeps still. I just love this image of these old. I think they do it at the White Spring. I love it when they do it at the White Spring, which is it's a walled, it's a bricked up spring in Glastonbury. So you can there's gates at the front and you can come in. But what they do is they everyone piles in. There's hundreds of people in there, and all the candles are blown out. There's no electricity in there, and it's dark, absolutely dark. And we're all in there together, totally pitch black, for as long as we can possibly manage it. And then we call for light all together. And a young girl, a child, represents Bridie, who is the goddess of the springtime. And she goes around and lights everybody's candles. It's so beautiful. It's really precious. And I was thinking about that this morning, about who dares to gather together with a group of friends and be in total darkness together. How can we be as still as possible in company without it involving a screen of any kind? That's what I've been thinking about. Who do I know well enough or trust well enough, or that I want people in my life who I know and trust well enough that I can say, come and sit in the dark with me.
I'll sit in the dark with you.
Come and sit. I've got this great idea. Come and sit in the dark with me, or let's do nothing. And keep getting outdoors as well feels really important in the winter. Getting those moments. Yeah, that's right. And when the door opens and you come in, and the warmth of the home wraps around you.
When your face goes all prickly.
And
you're like, it's that. I think it's that thing of, hopefully, if you've got warm home, and that can be, not everybody's got that constantly. And feeling that quite a lot at the minute. We've got a very cosy home, but if you can find it, I think it's the contrast. It's appreciating the contrast, whatever you've got, wherever you are, appreciating those moments of lack, or seeing those moments of lack, of like when you're hungry and then you eat and your belly's warmed and nourished, and when you're cold and then you get warm again. And we have much more contrast in winter than we do in summer. You know, we might want to cool off in summer, especially with some of our hot summers, but it's not quite the same as that, like, oh, okay, now I'm going to be okay. And I think it's the same with, with the light coming in. I'm like, oh God, it's dark. Oh God, it's getting darker. Oh wow, it's like, where's the light gone? And then it will
sort of
come.
like that. I love that. It's like the summer sort of builds and builds and builds and builds, doesn't it? But the winter, it's dark and light, dark and light, dark and light, hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold. I love that.
It reduces right down, like you say, till it goes very still on the horizon and very slow and very gentle. I think it's a gentle time. It's time to be gentle with ourselves, gentle with each other. You know, if you have anything to give, I do love that about the festive season, about the things that we've held on to that people give, you know, and it is a time to look out beyond ourselves and go, okay, I have warmth or food or whatever we've got, and go, what can I give from what I have? And that's a beautiful message that pervades through. It's just a bit wrapped up some other stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I've been sort of trying to talk to Noah around about Christmas, about it not being about spending beyond your means or buying what someone else wants, but thinking about what have I got and what have I brought towards me this year, or what can I offer that's really of myself. I'm always trying to get him, because he's really good at origami. I'm always trying to get him to make origami things for people, but he doesn't value them because it comes easily to him. And he makes these great origami frogs, and he makes his origami trees and all kinds of things. And I was saying, just make people origami, they'll love it, and he doesn't value it. Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. What we find easy, we don't value. I often write people birthday songs because I'm like, oh, I haven't got you a present, so I just wrote you this silly song, and people love it. And I'm like, oh, it's just a stupid song, but it's that because I'm like, oh, it's just so that's
your
really,
thing. But it's like more and more I'm thinking about, well, what is my essence, and how can I offer that and not feel like skint, knackered, grumpy, at the end of by sort of January the 2nd.
Hugs. I can give hugs. They're quite easy. It's Christmas. I'm giving you a hug.
Foot spas. Getting more comfortable, being more intimate with each other, so that we can receive more deeply. Will you sing to us now?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to sing a little song that needs a little explanation, actually. First,
Do the solstice song.
Yeah, we've been in a solstice, haven't we?
Yeah.
The solstice song. The other one needs explanation. Okay, this is Winter Solstice. And this song, I wrote this song on the way back in a lay-by, having been treated to a spa by a friend after the first 4 years of setting up our little farm, which was just fields. And I was so tired. She left me in the spa for a bit in the day and kind of came back and found me like drooling on one of those lounges and woke me up. And I hadn't rested. I really hadn't rested for a long time. I'd been working, pushing. So this came in quite quickly, which is always nice when it comes in one go.
That is the other thing about rest, isn't it? Is that creativity just bubbles out from good rest.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, winter solstice, I'm glad you have come. My body is tired from all that I've done. I rest here a while in your deep winter's night, revived and renewed and awake with the night. The dark will not from strength come while I sleep. I'll wake with the dawn so vital and fresh. I know at this time it was right that I rest. Coming gently, oh light, coming slow. Oh light, come and show me all that I will know. I'll wake with your dawn, full of peace, full of rest, and know to slow down at this time was the best. Oh, winter solstice, we're glad you have come. Our bodies are tired from all that we've done. We'll rest here a while in your deep winter's night. Revived and renewed, we'll awake with the light. The dark will not fear, will slumber so deep. Oh, clarity, wisdom, strength, come while I sleep. We'll wake with the dawn so vital and fresh, and know to slow down at this time was the best. Coming gently, oh light, coming slow. Oh light, come and show us all that we will know. We'll wake with your dawn, full of peace, full of rest, and know at this time to slow down was the best.
"'Twas the night before Yuletide, and all through the glen not a creature was stirring, not a fox, not a hen. A mantle of snow shone brightly that night as it lay on the ground, reflecting moonlight. The fairies were nestled all snug in their trees, unmindful of flurries and a chilly north breeze. The elves and the gnomes were down in their burrows, sleeping like babes in their soft earthen furrows, when lo, the earth moved with a thunderous quake, causing chairs to fall over and dishes to break. The little folk scrambled to get on their feet, then raced to the river where they usually meet. What happened? They wondered, they questioned, they pushed, as they shivered in nightclothes, some bare armed, some robed. What caused the earth shudder? What caused her to shiver? They all spoke at once as they stood by the river. Then what to their wondering eyes should appear but a shining golden light in the shape of a sphere? It blinked and it twinkled, it winked like an eye, then it flew straight up and was lost in the sky. Before they could murmur, before they could bustle, there emerged from the crowd with a swish and a bustle the Holly King, with his hand on a cane, resplendent in green, with a flowing white mane. As he passed by them smelling of winter and spices, reminiscent of earth slumber and robin entices. "My name is the Holly King, the Oak King's twin brother," the Holly King proclaimed in a voice wild but tamed. "I've come to remind you, for you seem to forget, it is time for deep rest, and yet I see no hearth fires, I hear no music, no bells, the air is not filled with rich fragrant smells. If of baking and roasting and simmering stews, of cider that's mulled or other hot brews, there aren't any children at play in the snow, or houses lit up by a warm candle's glow. Have you forgotten, my children, the fun of celebrating the rebirth of the golden bright sun? He looked at the fey folk, his eyes going round, as they shuffled their feet and stared at the ground. Then he smiled the smile that brings light to the day. Come, my children, he said, let's play. They gathered the mistletoe, picked spiky holly, they threw off the drab and drew on the jolly. They lit a big bonfire, they danced and they sang, they brought out the bells and clapped when they rang. They strung lights on the trees and bows oh so merry, in colours of cranberry, bayberry, cherry. They built giant snowmen and gave them their hats, then surrounded them with snowbirds and snowcats and bats. Then just before dawn, at the end of their fest, before they went homeward to seek out their rest, the fey folk, they gathered round their favourite oak tree and welcomed the sun near the tree's finery. They were just reaching home when it suddenly came. The golden light returned like an arrow shot flame. It lit on the treetop where they could see from afar. The golden-like sphere turned into a 5-pointed star. The Holly King just smiled at the beautiful sight. Happy Yuletide, he whispered. Good night. Oh, thank you, Ted. That was so gorgeous. I just had to read into that. Sometimes I just get so excited by the atmosphere that's created with music. I just wanted to read. Thank you.
Oh, that was just divine. Yeah, it actually got me thinking about rest. Like that, rest isn't just lying down. Rest is making spiced mulled cider or juice and having hearty times and being creative and playing, isn't it? That's rest.
And doing what's easy, putting stews in and mulled wine in the slow cooker and just doing what's easy. I don't know who wrote that poem. That's been on my desk all year. I have moved that. Every time I've gone to do something, I've moved it and I've opened it up and I've gone, oh, what's that? Why is that on there? And I haven't done anything with it. And then yesterday or the day before, I just thought, oh, I was going to learn that this year. But that'll have to be next year.
She didn't use any bit of paper. It was completely from memory.
Oh,
that was beautiful. Oh, yeah.
So, beyond being a farmer and a seasonal celebrant, you are a singer.
I'm a singer. I even had my name on something as a composer earlier this year, which was quite funny. I did a big Arts Council play called Rising Waters in the Chew Valley, and it was amazing. There was a 5-metre long, massive, giant salmon that spoke and came to life, and it was fantastic. And I did all the sound effects and music for that, and that was a real like new, edgy place for me. I loved it. Actually, I really enjoyed finding like great crested green warbler sound effects online and kind of piping them all in. So I all things music if I can, and that's coming more into my life now. I co-run the farm with my wonderful partner, husband, and I have homeschooled my kids. They're now getting older, so I've got some space, which is lovely. Not completely. There's still one in the mix that's, homing a lot. So yeah, lots of lovely music and really trying to I used to do a lot of festivals and gigs, and then had to sort of put it all down for the kids in the farm and trying to kind of work out how to bring that, which bits of that to bring back in and what I want to do with it. And it's in this very authentic time of my life where I don't have any capacity to not be very authentic anymore. So
and it's like what we're talking about, isn't it? About doing things easily. What's the most kind of delicious way of doing something? Because sometimes festivals can mean lots of driving and lots of gigging and sometimes festivals can be really gorgeous and just as rejuvenating as going to one, as contributing. I love that about as tiring as Glastonbury Festival is. My beating heart wants to lift up the prayer of there being a collaboration of performing arts on this land every year. It really, I feel strongly about that.
Yeah. And that's summer energy as well. That's a summer creative, like.
Yeah, let's not think about it.
Good garden. Yeah, but so alongside that, I recently did the Natural Voice Network choir leading course, and I've already been sort of hold wassails and things.
So tell me, all these words. Natural Voice Network. What's that?
So it's an organisation that really promotes singing, community singing, and singing without needing to read music. So choirs that you just learn things by ear, maybe with some words written on a board or on a sheet, but really not having to have that pressure of that sort of musical.
Okay, hit me. Let's have a sing.
Oh no, hang on.
Simple. Something super simple.
Okay, hang on. What were we doing the other day?
I think it's really important for us to reclaim our singing. Really, really important. Well, whilst you're thinking, I'll just say that I went to I belong to the Avalonian Free State Choir, and it's total nepotism, because I know the choir leader Sally very well. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in there, okay, because I'm hopeless at learning words and not so great at singing. But my singing has so improved. Been in it a year now, and I've stopped mouthing, and I've started to let sound come out. It's great, and everyone's been lovely. They've pretended not to notice that I'm not singing.
I have to tell the pod people that when I heard the people out there dreamily listening in, that when I heard, not only discovered that Sarah Mooney was doing this podcast, but also then heard her sing in the middle of it, I was like, oh my God, she's good at everything. She's so amazing. Listen to her.
We can all sing.
And then the next one, I think you said something about your inhibitions around singing. So, it's we can all sing. And I've got a song that's singing if you speak, you can sing. There's just so much that holds us back, and there's so much of this culture that dumbs us down.
Yeah, I think it's a trick to stop us from really meeting our full potential, to make singing unfashionable. I think that I've got this is based in no fact at all, but I think that the church stole it and made it theirs and made it impossible or illegal for people to sing other than to praise the Lord. And then they broke down the churches, so it's like there's nowhere for us to sing. And I can totally feel in my own body from singing more that I'm feeling much more connected to the inside of myself, and I feel good. So and look at lockdown, all the choirs that went wild, all the online choirs that went wild over lockdown. Yeah, let's just remember that we love singing. Remember, all of you, that place, that moment where you love singing, and do it in the car. Like that's a great place to start. Do it in the car.
Great. Yeah, I do it at petrol stations. Yeah, it's really weird when I start. It's a very strange habit. But I seem to sing in petrol stations. Got nice acoustics. But there's a real women thing as well. Our voice has been taken from us, and I hadn't realised that really how deep that had gone in my psyche. From even being a performer, I still hold stuff. There's cultural stuff. There's stuff of from school, of people saying don't show off when you're good at something, that still, despite the fact that I do countless performances over my life, I still have fear when I sing. I'm like, God, if I have fear when I sing, and I'm a singer in inverted commas, it's really helped me kind of realise how much we're all affected by it. And I think it's good for people who feel like they're not strong singers to understand that singers are terrified too, that it's such a big thing. I wrote a little song when I was on this course about the birds, wonderful big trees in this place where we did this choir leading week, residential week, and it's and the opening line is, imagine if the birds were scared to sing, imagine if you'd never heard their chirruping, can you hear the silence it would bring, the emptiness I fear it would be deafening. And it was just this like, what if we weren't all singing? And all the women in that room, it was all women on this course, what if we all had what if we were too scared? So, but that's even a message to myself that I'm scared to sing. And actually, even you saying, Ted, bring us a song. And I'm like, oh, have I got the right thing? You know, there's a whole...
Let's sing the wrong song at the wrong time.
What about summer? No, I'm wondering if... so there's a wonderful call and response thing that one Frankie Armstrong, who sort of pioneered a lot of the Natural Voice Network, amazing woman. She's been blind most of her life and is partly deaf and has such incredible ability to understand resonance and song and voice and bring it out of people. She's an incredible human and has dedicated her life to singing and helping people sing. And so she does this wonderful kind of call and response thing. We do it with as if you're sort of haymaking, and I did it the other day with our choir. And
so Ted is those of you who've never made hay.
Imagine you've got a long, this long old-fashioned like pitchforks with a sort of 4 prongs at the end, slightly curved, and you're kind of we're not making the hay because that's a summer thing. We're going to toss the hay up to keep it aired and dry in our barn. And what you do is you're standing. Imagine you're sort of rocking forward side to side, and you just when your body's doing something, you kind of get out of your own head a little bit. So we'll do a little call and response. So I'll sing just anything, and then you just copy me. We're copycats. We did it from birth. We did it when we were born. We did it with babies. That's how we learned to speak. Oh, 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 oh. Beautiful.
I really enjoyed that.
It's really good, isn't it? You've got such gorgeous resonance.
Well, that's, singing every week for a year. Yeah, that's really brought that through. Thank you. Oh, I think I could do that. Yeah. You've made me think that because I was thinking about tossing the hay. It's a bit like sort of making your bed in the morning. and that there's lots of things I do regularly that I could sing at the same time as doing them, and how that might make me feel differently about doing them. I've got such a kind of dinner lady in me that just wants to get it done, but I could actually enjoy the task whilst I'm doing it and bring some flow to it. Might make my life flow a bit more.
And so many of the songs that around the world are work songs, and the older songs, and there's lots of Scottish they're called walking songs, W-A-U-L-K, I think, I-N-G, and they're to pass the time on the repetitive things. You're rolling the tweed and you're singing something incredible in Gaelic that I won't start now because I'll forget the description, get the pronunciation wrong, but they're to pass the time. And they build community, and they literally weave while you're weaving, and they come from every culture. They're in every culture. They're in us to make those sounds. We were probably singing before we were speaking words. It's really interesting when you look at it like that. And we definitely, when little kids are making those sounds, they're making kind of whoa, 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 and then, and they're copycats, and we copy. So doing that call and response is really helpful and great.
I loved it. Thank you.
Great. We've made our hay nice and dry for the winter.
Great. What you need, dry hay. What was I going to say? Before you sing your next song, you were telling me about where it came from. Now I haven't quite got it, so now you say it all again over the pod, I might just slow you down a bit. So tell me.
Okay, I'll try and start at the beginning. So there's a wonderful artist called Sophie White, who's a potter and an artist of many different mediums. And she's also an amazing horsewoman, and she drives carriages and carts and rides, and she's got an incredible way with horses. And she used to go around the country, I think, a lot when she was younger, just camping out, just with a horse and some saddlebags and a tent. And that was quite easy and normal for her. And I think she got to, I'm not quite sure how old she was, mid-late 40s, and thought, I just need to see if I can still do that. And so she had this idea of a pilgrimage that she, and I'm not quite sure the exact order she chose to do these in, but she was living on a converted chapel on the Mary ley line, which is part of the Michael and Mary ley lines that interweave across from Cornwall right across England, kind of in a straight line, almost like a sort of the edges of a double helix, right the way over to
So let me just stop you there. I don't know much about the Michael and Mary lines. We might do another pod about that. But what I do know is I saw a line going through the Michael line once, and it goes through all the ancient sites, Avebury, Stonehenge, Glastonbury Tor, dun 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 dun. You can draw a line through them, and then someone was in the Abbey, Billy the Celt, and I were in the Abbey, and he said, look at all the spires, and from the top of the Abbey you could see like 3 or 4 spires of churches in different villages. So they've all been built on what is perceived to be a sacred space, which are these lines, which are called ley lines, and some people call them the Michael or Mary lines.
Yeah.
Right? Cool.
Yeah, and they're kind of, some people believe that they're sort of energy lines that have powerful points on them. So there's the less well-known places like Burramump and Crinch and St Michael, and there's sort of I'd love to now having kind of immersed myself in this whole album of songs around it. I'd love to go and explore it more, because there's places where I'm like, oh, I didn't realise that was part of this whole thread. So she went on this pilgrimage on her horse, but
hang on. So she went on the pilgrimage. She walked.
She went on her own. I think she got dropped down in like the bottom of Cornwall.
But she did the lines. What's she doing?
She's following the ancient bridleways and the ways and some of the roads on her horse, and every day she was commissioned by the Royal Western Academy to, I think someone got wind she was going to do this thing, do this journey, and they commissioned her to draw a picture every day, and every day she managed to somehow, remarkably, with technology on the back of a horse, put them online, and the Royal Western Academy would print these pictures out and put them on the wall of their spaces, and so she was doing this every day, and it went on for weeks and weeks. And a friend of hers called Michael Canning, who's actually a vet, he wouldn't call himself a poet, began to write little supporting messages to her. Where she put
in response to her
pictures and about the picture and about her journey. And it felt as almost if he'd been like on the phone to her that day, and he hadn't at all, but he had this sort of amazing insight into what it would have felt like to go from place to place, and these moments in time that she'd captured in these drawings. And some of them are very sketchy, some of them are slightly cartoony, some of them are like deeply like curled up in the earth, lots of ravens and lots of really beautiful owls and animals, and lots of horse energy in them. And a few weeks in, this is a very long intro to a song. A few weeks in, I thought, I need to catch up with what Soph's been up to, sort of knowing what she was doing, preparing for it, the sort of few weeks before she was going. And she left in like 1st of April or something. It was snowing, it was freezing cold still, and she was kind of going, what am I doing? So I thought, okay, catch up, and I went online and found these pictures and found these poems, and had a very sort of dialed in moment with a glass of wine, kids gone to bed, and put them all to music without intending to, just put about 20 of them to song, and just kept pressing play. One of them was written very like a song that was sort of cover, sounded very like a Led Zeppelin song, and I was like, oh, hang on, there's something in this. And so created this accidental album of songs about her journey.
Wow.
And then we recorded them actually in Glastonbury, because we wanted to do it somewhere along that, with that energy, along that sort of line, the ley line energy. So we recorded them with Gem at the Hive Studios originally. They've been remastered recently. So
wow.
So it's got this amazing, and we, none of it was intended. He didn't mean to write the poems. We never planned any of it, which is wonderful, because I think if we'd planned that kind of project, we all would have killed over and had a heart attack, because it would have been a bit huge. But it sort of kept evolving, and really rather magically.
We have a sign in the kitchen that says, art is the thing that nobody asks you to do.
Yeah.
And I think about that sometimes, about what am I tinkering with? What am I playing with? Nobody asked me to do the podcast, but I'm glad you're listening.
I'm so glad she's doing the podcast. I'm like, by the way, I am like the super fan sitting on the sofa, feeling like I'm in with the like film star of the podcast world in my view. So
play us one of these songs from this beautiful album. We are slap bang on the ley line, guys, playing you this song. So if we disapparate after the song is finished, then
well, it's called Time for Home.
Great.
So we may go home.
We might. Okay, I'm going to get really comfy.
So it's called Time for Home, and it's one of the last ones that I wrote, where she actually did it in 2 stages. She did it on one beautiful horse called Oski, who was about 4 years old, beautiful Appaloosa, if anyone is a horsey person. He's a kind of spotty, not a very big mane, sort of slightly odd looking horse, but he's just got the most amazing energy. He's the gentlest, beautiful, goofy soul. And he was quite young, and she was like, I think he's done enough. She'd done like 100 days with him or something. And so she was bringing him home and then going to continue with her little Dartmoor pony in a cart for the second leg of it. So this is Time for Home for Oscar.
Oh, Oski's going home.
Oski, honestly, he's just the most beautiful soul. I love that horse very deeply. She's actually sold him, but he's still in our valley, and every time I go near him, I just have to go and lean my head on his head. He's very divine.
I had a car accident once when my car flew in the air and it rolled 3 times, and it landed upside down. And I was advised to spend time with horses, and I was expecting, because this person who I said, you're way out of your body, you need to spend time with horses, and I'd never spent much time with horses before, and I was expecting that to be very grounded, like 4 feet on the ground, and actually what I discovered when I was with the horses, that it was constant adjustment, constant flow, constant movement. They didn't for a second keep all 4 feet on the ground. And through spending time with them and being able to kind of allow that constant movement to come through my body and adjust my body as it needed, I did start to get kind of heal.
Oh, they are incredible. I have also owned a very difficult horse who was very much a soul challenge. And he was living with Oski at the time, at some points of me having him, and it was such a contrast having this little teenager horse, basically, and then having Oski in the same space. And I was like, I love you so much, Oski.
Oh,
I wish you were mine.
Oh,
So they sometimes come to us to teach us things.
Yeah, maybe we all find ways to welcome our teenagers. Teenagers. There's sometimes they're not welcome, are they? But
sometimes they come in anyway when they need to teach us stuff.
They're welcome. They're really welcome. Okay, I may when you're finished singing, I may do a small journey afterwards, but we'll see how it goes.
Beautiful. Okay. White ley lines, rains on night, early mornings, and something to find. The cloud of snow, sun shot through, struck my heart. Blanket round me, sky and rain apart. Smiles to my eyes. Oski strides on. We'll ride and ride onto the tor until we can no more. Until we can no more. Like a cloud on a Sunday morning, have we come our way? Michael and Mary lay. Dark skies look apple green, none such as I have seen. Come, Oski, turn with me, I'll hold your ear, move your mane.
Time for home. Time for home. Whoa, time for home. Time for home. Deep inside all of us is a cave. Time for home. Always coming home. And we find ourselves at the mouth of that cave, ready to go deeper inwards. And we call for good company, whether that's a scent or a person or an animal or a guide. We call for good company and it comes. And so we walk deeper into this cave, into our winter, into our soul, into our safe place, deep, deep, deep inside. And we know that the fires will burn in here and the candles will be lit and there will be a deep welcome for us. And we look around this place and we see who's there, what is feeding us, where we're getting our warmth from, our joy, our delight, and our deep rest. And we find a place in this cave where we lay down for a while that suits us just so. And as we lay there, our body drops, our neck letting go of our head, our shoulders melting, body resting back, resting back, resting back. Breathing, resting, deepening into winter. Thank you, Ted. Thank you. And I wouldn't call that a long introduction into that song. I would have called that a great story.
It's a great story.
Yeah, it's a great story, and it's inspiring about what is possible in a life and how we can live life differently. So thank you for that.
And I just thought, when you were saying before, that there's something about one creative act can spark another and another and another. And I think sometimes it doesn't matter where our inspiration comes from. It's all around us, and it can be completely unplanned. And yeah, best not to plan in some ways.
Yes, yeah, and collaborate. Yeah, I would like to do more collaboration next year with different artists for sure. Yes. So when I was getting my Christmas decorations out, I found some books, some storybooks, so that I thought I'd run out of. So you should be getting some storybooks for Christmas, guys. And if anybody wants one, you can message me on Substack. For listening this year to this podcast, I'd love to send you a storybook. So if you message me with your address, I'll send it to you. Yeah, that was the one thing I remember. How can people get in touch with you? How can they listen to your horse? What's your horse album called?
It's called Earthline.
Earthline.
So it is on. It's on Bandcamp. It's not on my Bandcamp really, but it's on Bandcamp as Earthline. It's also the 4. We've been remastering some of the tracks and putting them on to Spotify. So there's 4 up there, 3 up there now, under Ted Waters. Ted Waters on Spotify, and the rest of the album is coming in the spring. And on there is also the Winter Solstice song.
Brilliant.
That's there. But you can
What
find
do you know what it's called, the album?
It's the album. That's there's Earthline is the whole album with Time for Home and all the songs about Soph's journey, Soph's story, and then currently I just have Winter Solstice is just the one single that's not part of that album. It's up there for now, and there's more coming. There's a song called Billion Atoms coming up next year, which was written about my dear friend who died a couple of years ago.
But we can find you how.
You can find me there. Find me on Spotify. You can find me on Bandcamp. You can find me on Instagram. Ted Waters Music.